What's up, everyone? I hope you guys are having a fantastic Wednesday in this crazy, crazy world we are living in. It is time for another Wednesday Wisdom, and I get to carry on the torch this week in 1 Peter chapter 2. Last week, Chuck finished off chapter 1, and hey, if you didn't see it, go back and check it out. Chuck did a fantastic job, had a really good word, and the thing is with chapter 1 of just being called to be holy, that God ransomed our lives. There's so much good stuff in chapter 1. Don't miss out. Make sure you go back and reread chapter 1 because we're going to turn the page into chapter 2, which is really more of the application side of things, especially these first two verses. So I'm going to go to 1 Peter chapter 2, verses 1 and 2, where Peter writes, "So put away all malice and all deceit and hypocrisy and envy and all slander." Now, why don't I just stop there for a second? Let's put away all malice, hypocrisy, deceit, envy, and all slander. Some versions actually say evil speaking. I'll be honest, there's things that rise up in my heart that could all fit in that category of malice, of deceit, hypocrisy. Let's just be honest. If there's one thing that people criticize the church and Christians for, it's being hypocritical, which isn't fair because honestly, you know what? We all strive to be more like Jesus, and you know what? We all fall short, and the rest of the world doesn't really understand that. And so they call it hypocrisy. I call it, we're just trying to be like Jesus. And I know I fall short. We all fall short daily. But it always ends up to evil speaking, all slander. You can see it on Facebook now. If Peter was writing today, he would certainly talk about social media and the words that we say matter. What is driving our words? Is it malice? Is it envy? Envy's a dark one. I know I get envious of a lot of things. Oftentimes our mouths what comes out of our mouths is the result of a deeper seed that's in our heart. You see, Peter, he goes on to say, like newborn infants, long for the spiritual milk, that by it you may grow up into salvation, if indeed you've tasted the Lord is good. So, I don't know if you've been around infants or not, but they certainly let you know when they're hungry. I'm pretty excited because we're expecting my wife. She's, 3 months preggo, something like that. And so I'm trying to remember what it's like having an infant again. And I remember this verse when our son Gideon was a baby because he craved milk. And what Peter's saying is we need to crave this book and crave the word like a baby craves milk. Because then we grow up into it, right? It's amazing how fast a baby grows just drinking milk. Like seriously, it's crazy how that happens. And it's the same for us, right? We may not always remember this book. We may not always understand it, but as we're drinking it in, as we're reading the word, as we're digesting the word, God is using it to grow us, to mature us. And what really makes that happen, the most important part, is the application. It's how we apply it to our lives. That we need to long for that, to long for growth, that should be our heart's desire. And anytime we open this book to say, God, use this to speak into my life, to grow me and mature me as a follower of you, that we can all be more like Jesus. I have thoroughly enjoyed jumping into to 1 Peter. It's one of my favorite books. And just going verse by verse, honestly, has been a great reminder for me. I hope it is for you. I do, honestly want to take a moment and just say, to ask for prayer. Obviously not racing is tough. We all miss being at the track. And of course I miss watching cars and all of that. But there's teams, there's people that are getting laid off. There's people at IndyCar that are laid off. There's a lot of things happening behind the scenes. There's a lot of companies. I was talking with my old employer who builds the exhaust systems for IndyCar, and business is really slow. There's a lot of other businesses that are being impacted in our racing community. And so if we could just ask for your prayer, that you would pray over our community, that you would pray for our ministry as we learn to lead and love in this season, and especially when we get to come back together for racing. Everyone, thank you so much for spending a few minutes with me this morning as we jump into 1 Peter chapter 2. Remember, go back, read 1 Peter chapter 1 and then jump ahead a little bit in chapter 2. Chuck will be back next week. Have a great day.